my name's Andrea Warmington,
My name is Owen Burns.
and welcome to Cylo, the podcast about self-discovery and personal growth and what that means to you.
Today we are on episode 61. How are you doing, Andrea? How's your week going?
Well, Biden won, so I'm excited. But on the flip side, it's been a serious chill. It's been crazy, pins and needles. The election. One thing that I was kind of like geeking out on is there's this book called Breath by this guy, James Hester. And he goes into this whole thing about breathing. Like 80% of us don't even breathe right. And one of the things I do meditation. So the breath is something really important to me. So I use the breath to kind of calm, but we don't use our breath to the full potential. Even when you're singing, we get so stressed and we don't breathe. So I've been kind of geeking out on this guy, James Hester, and breathing.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on with you? How's it going?
Yeah, I've been stressed this week. I took on a new job, and so I've been very stressed. But now I'm kind of like feeling this wave of like taking a deep breath, knowing that Biden won. So I'm very thrilled about that. But with that said, we have a guest today. His name is Bob Dee with Petro, and we're going to play the song Socially Awkward first before we introduce Bob, and just so people can get a forward of what this was his first big hit song. And so let's listen to it.
So attractive, only a mother could love this face. No matter what they say, I was born this way. I don't fit in, I'm socially awkward. I don't fit in, living in my world.
Bob Dee with Petro. How are you, Bob?
Hello, everyone.
How's it
Hello
go?
from New York City. How's that? A sunny day today, 71 degrees. I'm so excited.
Yeah, there's a lot of noise in the streets today because of the election.
I'm hearing it in my neighborhood.
Cars are honking and
it's crazy. Welcome, Bob. Welcome.
Oh, Andrea, welcome. Great to be here. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you for joining us.
I mean, just go from, we were just talking about breathing and the stresses from the world we're in. I mean, you are a rock star. You've played, you've been doing this since the 80s. You've been doing so much music around the world. The industry is really shifting. So how are you navigating this? I mean, clearly there's so much to be said in this world of the industry.
Well, it's great because the internet, it's like, you're right. I was touring the world. I go into different countries and everything. And now the countries seem to be coming to me. If you can get that concept, I'm getting like fan mail, people from like France and Japan and everyone hitting me up around the world that wants to talk to me and see if I'm okay. Buying my stuff, they'll buy my new CD and then they'll hit me up. Oh my God, that song Down is like one of my favorite, just the best you ever wrote. And now it seems like the world just shifted. Like I had to go there. And now it's all coming into my office here. It's kind of
that's so
if
cool.
you think about that concept, it's really working well for me.
So you're in direct contact with your actual fans.
Yeah, they hit me up, and I actually have a PO box, and I get like gifts constantly. I mean, I can't tell you how many gifts. Like most of my office is all gifts from fans around the world.
That Kiss poster in the back.
Yeah, 1979.
Really cool.
Garden.
About the industry and everything. It's changed so dramatically. We were around in the 80s and 90s where it was all about like getting that big record deal. And, that was what bands depended on. They were very dependent on the industry. And now it's kind of like you can really just create your own thing. And right?
Right. It seems.
Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, actually in the 90s, I was signed to RCA. I had like a $500,000 deal. It was the most ridiculous thing. The recording budget was actually $300,000. Actually
Shit.
spent $300, and then the band got dropped. I was out of the band before the band got dropped. I actually have a CD, like spent $300,000 on it. It's the most ridiculous thing now if you think about it, right?
Right.
Nowadays, you can do it in your apartment. I have everything I could possibly have to
That's
make a record here in my apartment. Don't have to spend $300,000. So today's market, it's actually working out better for musicians, I think.
I think so too. The middleman is out of the way.
But
Out of
do
the way.
you,
But I still do have to bring it to like the pros, to mix it and bring it to the big studios to do drums.
I see.
but do you think that doing your own thing, you get more flexibility, or do you feel like, because I mean, the middleman's gone, but there's still so many people involved in creating an LP. I mean, how do you get through that? I mean, do you have more input, less input? How's that shift?
Yeah, I have a lot of input. Like I'm on Sony Records,
Mhm.
through AMG, but Mark Berry.
Mhm.
And that changed a lot too. It's kind of funny. I was telling Owen that when I was trying to upload the down video I just did, it said, all right, Sony Orchard. I couldn't even download my own
Oh,
video.
Are you
because it was
serious?
by Sony. Yeah, it was kind of funny, right? I
So-
had to call the company and say, hey, I'm trying to get this video I just made.
Right. But you are signed by Sony. You're still doing it the way that it was done, in the 90s or whatever. But some younger people today are like, they're just doing it all on their own. It's a whole different ballgame.
It's true.
How did they get discovered? Like, it's not like everybody is just another Justin Bieber that gets discovered. It's like, how do the bands do that?
Well, it's funny. I was like the other, like I was sending out my stuff for years. I don't know if you saw my all my albums I have, Up All Night. I have like five albums. I kept sending it to this guy, Mark Berry. Kept sending it over and over.
Really?
He's like, yeah, I love this stuff, and I just don't hear it. And I'm like touring. I'm getting my numbers up. I'm going to Japan. I did 5 years in Japan, and finally, I wrote Socially Awkward, and he wrote me back immediately. He said, this is the song I've been waiting for 10 years.
Yeah.
I'm signing you to Universal.
Such a great song.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's how it happened for me.
It's so catchy. Now, what about like how are artists making money, with
through merch. I mean, I'm literally paying my rent through merch.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely selling a lot. Even during the lockdown, the 3 months, everyone was home. Think about it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm bored. I can't go out. Let's go online and see what Bob's doing.
Yeah.
No matter what country you're in. And I just kept going, how am I going to get to the post office? Everything is closed, it was freaking me out,
But how is it shifting? I mean, clearly the merchandise is something that people from all over the world are into with you. Do you create things? I mean, do you have input in that, or is it just basically what the industry's kind of telling you should put out commercially?
Yeah.
I literally, I go by what the fans want. I mean, that last video was like, they kept saying, we want to see a live thing of the band. We wanted to see, we don't want to see you with some girl. Socially Awkward is fun, all the people and stuff. But so that's why we did the down video, like the whole band showed Allison on bass and TJ on guitar and Mike on drums. Well, we did have a plan. We were going to do vinyl for the summer. We had so many requests for like a pink vinyl, stun gun,
Yeah.
And then we were going to do hoodies in the fall.
Right.
But everything is selling so much and I keep restocking. I'm kind of putting it all on hold and kind of saving a little bit.
I mean, you've got the dog, what is
Dog tags.
Yeah, I saw those. And then you've got the keychain. And then of course, everybody has t-shirts and posters and
a stun gun, the little stun gun.
Yeah, but who's coming up with the the with the,
I come up with all the ideas.
You have the Bob Dee casket, like Kiss casket.
Do you really?
Yeah, I come up with all. No, I don't.
Kiss cap.
But I do. I come up with all that. Even Socially Awkward, I came up with the idea. Like, wouldn't it be cool if I went to like these rich people's house, And the director originally wanted the band to be the bad guys.
Oh.
Saw the video, the stereotype, in the food. I said, no, wouldn't it be great if the people in the tuxes, her family would be like the crazy ones, and the band, like the normal people. That's socially awkward, you know.
I love it. I love it. But
Yeah.
so socially awkward, I think that we discussed this. Where did that come from? I mean, does that have any influence on who you are? I mean, when I see you in videos, I'm like, this guy's on stage. He's not messing around, you know? So
Well, that's how I am on stage, right? And it's funny. And when I'm in my real life, I'm a bit of a nerd. I don't know, maybe Owen knows this. But, you know, I am the rock star, but sometimes I do these nerdy things like having glasses on my head, and I don't remember I have glasses on.
so
Funny, when I go to the UK, you know, I use bands around the world. I hire musicians in the UK. I have a guitar player, Adrian, and Paul on drums, and Norm on bass, right? And they kept seeing my pictures too. And the first time I went over there, they literally told me in a room, they're like, dude, we saw your pictures with, you know, the mustache. We thought you were like just badass. We were like, this guy's going to be a real jerk. He's going to be full of himself. And we got in a room and they go, but you're such a nice guy. We thought you were going to be, I'm like, a dick. He's like, yeah, dick, dude.
But I love that, though. I love that in talking to you. I mean, when Owen said we should, you know, we need to speak to Bob Dee, I'm like, oh my God, I'm a little bit intimidated. But then just talking to you, I thought, my God, this guy's a real, you know, is a regular guy. But when you look on the stage, you're like, shoot, he's just like no joke. He's in control. So I think it's nice to see that side of an artist like you, to see that the side that he's a real person, you know, like. You got people all over. Your followers are just like from all over the world, almost like they know you. I mean, how does that feel when you kind of literally have your fans who just think, God, he's my man. I know, you know, that's a weird.
Yeah, it's a great feeling. I'm always good to them too. You know, everyone, my friends, my fans. You know, I give them extra. I'm one of those extra, you know, your song got me through my divorce, or got me through my cancer. I'm like, I gotta get them stuff.
Oh, wow.
I go crazy. I go guitar picks, you know, dog tags, you know, just load it up, you know.
It seems like there's a much more intimate relationship with, you know, musicians today than there was years ago, where there was it was a very distant relationship. You know, it was almost mysterious. That
right. I mean, on stage, I do bring it.
Yeah,
but I do bring it. I'm you know, killing it on stage.
Like the intimacy with the actual artists in itself, where you can actually have a conversation with. That was unheard of years ago.
Right. It is true. Yeah.
Bowie, you couldn't talk to you, right? You know, you just couldn't.
Exactly. We're almost afraid to talk to a rock star, you know, the autographs I got. I was like, oh my God, he's going to, this is so afraid. Nowadays, it's like everyone, you bring in the whole world into your room.
Oh, we're like a big family now. It's great.
And it's great talking with you guys too. I mean, I got a great feeling, like really, really nice, you know.
So what about, like, you know, there's, you know, is rock dead, Bob? I mean, or is it?
For me, it's not. It's amazing. I keep hearing this over and over. And the tours are getting booked, and I keep going and going. I keep selling, and I'm not experiencing it.
I think that's just something that people generated, and because rock is always going to be around. That's my view.
Right.
Even though there's other kinds of music, you know, obviously rap is still going strong, and R&B and whatever. But I think it's just something people were saying that I don't really think it has. Totally.
Yeah, I think Gene Simmons from Kiss came out and said rock is dead.
Oh, he said that?
Yeah, you know, all the new bands out there are gonna be, you know, it's like doom and gloom. You know?
Oh God.
But I mean, you travel, you have like followers in Japan, the UK. I mean, how do you kind of change the way you perform for these guys? Is it? I mean, this is a totally different world. Different Japanese music is so different than, you know, like even the vibe. Like, how do you do you have a favorite place to perform? I mean.
It's great that you said that, because like we do, like in New York, it's gritty and it's dirty, right? You guys know, right? We do have to do the harder set, like down the rockers, you know, like the real kick-ass, you know. You don't do the pop songs. But when I go to Japan, the whole set list, you're right, the whole set list has to change. It's more pop. I do like, you know, socially awkward, all the big chorusy things, so the fans can sing it and they know all the lyrics and stuff. Wow. So yeah, I do have to change the set list a lot, you know, in different regions that I go around the world, you know.
And you were touring with Enough Enough at one time, right?
Yeah,
Love that
last
band.
year. Oh, they
No,
were so nice. Chip, I'd known him for years,
yep,
years.
yep.
And Allison Mason booked it from MBM. I have to give her a shout out.
Uh-huh.
Great, great guys. They took care
Yeah,
of us the whole tour.
great band. I loved it when Derek Frigo was in the band.
Oh yeah, great.
He ended up unfortunately passing away, but he was such a great guitar player. I just loved his style.
There was one band that treated us good. They treated us good. They
That's
really
good.
did. And my band knew their band, all the members, and we used to share drum sets.
Yeah.
You know,
Wow.
What
Their
about like
crew,
other
our
rock
crew.
stars that you meet? Like, do you meet like really other famous, majorly famous people? And what is your relationship with them?
Well,
Do you
you know, it was
get
funny.
dated? What's the story?
In the UK, it was funny. Like we would do this whole tour there, and I would meet all these old rock stars, but I had no idea who they were. You know,
Like
who that was.
Or you can't say.
Yeah, but did you hear the Sweet story? The band Sweet.
Of the Sweet, yeah.
Yeah, and I was married a long, long time ago in the 80s, right? I went to the Bahamas for my honeymoon,
Mhm.
and there was Brian Conley, the singer from Sweet, walked out.
Yeah,
And we hung out at the pool together.
oh, that's
We
cool.
just got wasted together. I played him my cassettes, and he was thinking he was going to leave Sweet and
Oh,
start his own band, and he wanted me to play guitar for them.
really?
So I remember just calling him. This is like in the 80s. There's no internet or anything. You'd call England, or he'd call me like 3
Yeah.
in the morning, hi, mate, when you coming over?
Were you a Sweet fan when you were
Oh,
like?
I love Sweet.
Were you? Yeah, they were great.
Alice
Um,
Cooper, Sweet.
But Bob, when you're on the road, I mean, I'm curious how rock stars can stay on the road. Like you had said, there are times when you're on the road 200 hours. How the hell do you find your balance? How do you stay sane when you're on the road?
Not exhausted.
We try to do cool things during the day. I mean, when the UK tour, we were traveling 5 hours a day, like 4 to 5 hours. And it was a strange thing too. In LA, when we were we booked all around like LA, North Hollywood and all that. But the traffic was so bad, we would have to leave like 3 or 4 in the afternoon to get to a 9 o'clock show.
Are you serious?
I was literally laying in the bed like 3 o'clock, watching TV in the hotel room, and the guitar player's, dude, you got to get ready. We got to go. I'm like, we're not going on until 10. The traffic's really bad. I had no idea. So it's kind of like I'm in LA touring, West Coast, or I'm in Europe. It's the same kind of thing. But yeah, just doing the things that we love. I wanted to go see Shakespeare's house. We went to see Shakespeare's house when I was in the UK.
Yeah.
Stonehenge, churches, whatever.
What about?
So you're able to kind of like do your thing and do the band thing, but get to see the country you're in. It's not like on the road that you're like, you don't even see where you are.
Yeah, I usually don't have a day off. I'd like to have a day off, but the one thing I love doing is going buy clothes. I find all the cool clothing stores.
That's fun.
Even in Japan, I'm like, I want all the cool makers, and I always like to buy one piece, something to bring back. And like,
Don't you get
even the shirts from Japan? This is a hysterical glamour. It's a big.
Oh, cool. I love that.
Yeah.
Don't you get exhausted though, Bob? Sometimes, I mean, I remember when I was like touring with my little local band from Utica, New York, and we were like, I would get exhausting, and this was like real minor league compared to what you're doing, and I would get really tired. Of course, I had a full-time job at the same time, so
yeah, I get exhausted coming home. Like when I'm there though, I'm so wound up, I can't stop. I'm like a little kid. I just can't. You're up to 3 in the morning, and then but then you get to sleep till like 10, then get on the road, But when I come home though, I am beat. I don't want to do anything for a week. Like,
but do you get into that space where, okay, because you're on the adrenaline rush, you're touring, and you got all people just on you like crazy, and then you get home in Brooklyn and you think, do you miss that? Where do you?
Oh yeah, I miss it. Yeah, I really do.
Wow. Tell me about, you remember you said when you were in Germany and there was somebody, you're in Frankfurt airport. That was a funny story.
Oh, this is a great story. I did a music video in the Black Forest, believe it or not, in Germany, in Frankfurt, with Annie Bertram. She directed it. It was a beautiful video. But I was in the airport and I'm looking at the red cap guy to find where the New York planes are for Delta terminal, right, in Frankfurt, Germany. And the guy, I said, sir, do you know where the New York thing? He's going like this to me. I know you. I said, and he puts up lips to heel video. You, and I'm like, yeah. And he pulled out his little pad and I signed it. And he called 2 other red cap over, and then we all took a picture together and signed it.
Great.
Then, you know, when you go to the line, the TSA line, you take your shoes off, you're put in the box.
Yeah.
The 2 girls behind the thing went like this. He's a pop star.
Pop star.
Bob Dee from New York. He's a pop star.
Right.
And the girl in front of me goes, oh no.
Yeah.
So I literally had something in my pocket and I was trying to go through the thing, you know.
Of course.
The whole airport's looking at me.
Like Spinal Tap.
Yeah. I got to the end and they pulled out their pads too and I signed it. So yeah, Frankfurt, Germany. Yeah, it was like a big deal there. I made a little scene there.
All right. Do you ever have any crazy fans, like where they get a little crazy and you're like,
well, I had one actually show up at my parents' house. A girl showed up at my mom's
no.
upstate New York.
Oh, that's a little.
During the day, my mom upstate New York, Italian, you know, oh, hey, I'm Bob's girlfriend. She drove from like Rochester to Utica.
Okay.
Bob's girlfriend. And then she could not get rid of her. She wanted to see my baby pictures. So my mom's trying to get a hold of me, but I'm on tour somewhere in the world. And she calls my brother. You know, my brother calls me. He goes, do you know this girl? I'm like, I have no idea who it is. So he ended up getting rid of her, you know. Yeah.
Your mother's probably like, come in and have some pasta.
Yeah, you're Bobby's girlfriend. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
That's funny.
But it started getting creepy, you know. Can I see Bobby's baby pictures? Like, oh,
yeah, that's a little. Yeah, do we really need to go there?
Yeah, I know.
I don't know. Did I tell you the story about the time I was on stage where these girls came rushing up behind me, and then all of a sudden I felt the weight of my body being pulled.
Oh no!
I'm serious. And I was like right in the middle of a song, and I turned to them and I'm like, and of course I had to stop the song, and I go, I'm kind of in the middle of something here. And they're like, oh, we're sorry. You know, they were, mind you, they were drunk as, you know, skunks and whatever.
You had your guitar on too?
And everybody's just like in shock, you know, but you just never know like what's going to happen sometimes. And I was just wondering if you ever had any kind of crazy experience.
Yeah, just I maybe told the story in London. It was pretty wild. That the fans were rushing the stage because it was during the Russian heat wave on there. Mm-hmm. And it was all these dudes, like these dudes came with these backpacks, like this, like 20, like almost like frat guys, you know, in London while we were playing. And they kept rushing the stage, like grabbing my leg.
Really?
Yeah, like grabbing the mic and like we were just getting into it. Yeah, it was like a small place and we just were killing it. Mm-hmm.
Right.
That was so great. I kept saying, tear down the walls. Tear down the walls. They were dancing on the table and like swinging the chandeliers and stuff.
Yeah. So what about, your family, because we talked to you earlier, and I know that your family was really supportive with you. Ever since you were even like a teenager, they were like, yes, you have to do this.
Teenager. Yeah. I mean, when I was in high school, I got to play clubs.
Right.
I wasn't really old enough to drive kind of. So I was like 15, 16. So my dad, like they were so supportive of my mom and dad. Wow. My dad would take me with my Fender amp and my guitar, drop me off at the club, and then pick me up like 2:30 in the morning.
And how old?
Even the coldest, upstate New York.
What were you, like 17?
We'd be waiting on the car. I don't want to come in and embarrass you, and like.
I love that.
A couple of times I saw him in the crowd, eating chips and stuff, watching me. I'm like, oh, my dad,
4 acres in Marcy.
Yeah. So yeah,
That's amazing.
My family's very supportive of me, and they're still going. So.
Well, you're lucky, Bob, because I didn't grow up with the same experiences trying to be a rock star like you. Bob and I grew up like maybe 10 minutes apart from each other, neighboring towns, and my parents were completely not supportive at all. Like, I remember I played a song for them once, out on our front porch, and they were sitting there smoking and drinking their martinis, and I'm like, I just want you to hear this one song. And so I'm playing the song, and then my dad turns to my mother and he goes, do we really have to listen to this song?
Oh, no.
Oh, I'm serious. No. So you have no idea how good you have it. Trust me. Because not everybody has, it's a great thing to have supportive parents. Anyway, it's just.
I enjoy watching you play. Owen's very good. If you guys haven't seen him play yet.
Yeah.
Great voice, great guitar, really nice.
But yeah, I wanted to share also the story about like how, my band was looking for a lead singer. I don't know if you remember this, Bob, but we went to your house and we knocked on your front door.
Really?
It was me and Steve Betts, and you open up the door and you look at us like, okay, who are these?
Really?
I'm serious.
Wow. I don't
And we were like, yeah, we're looking for a singer. And like, okay. And you were like looking at us like we were so minor league, which we kind of were, because I think you had already like kind of established yourself.
Oh, how funny. I'm so sorry. I don't
No, I'm kidding. It's just such a funny story.
Oh, yeah.
We just weren't on your level yet, unfortunately. And then of course you went off and really soared. So it's just
moving to New York. I got signed like the first year, so that was really cool.
With your other band, before Petro.
Like RCA.
I love that. But good for you. And I appreciate that you have women in your band. That's really
Allison.
tough.
Yeah, Allison. Yeah,
she is so good. She is
great.
so good. Like the bottom end. Oh my God, I love playing with her.
That's cool.
Good soul.
So when you travel, you have people on that you could tap into, or do you have a traveling band when you go?
That's something I always wanted to tell the public. Like people are like, who is it? Why isn't Allison playing in Ukraine? What happens was you go to Japan, you get a certain amount of money, right?
Yeah.
So a flight to Japan is like almost $2,000, right?
Yeah.
So that's like $2,000 for Allison, $2,000 for TJ, it's almost 8,000 in flights. So I had to come up with a plan to use musicians in a different country.
Yeah.
So when I go to Japan, I have my band in Japan already ready to go.
That's so cool.
They already live there and they have cars. The drummer has a recording studio. We rehearse there. Instead of me bringing my whole band, New York band, I can make money. Same thing with the UK,
totally get it.
same thing with the West.
It's the modern world. This is how everything's different now.
And I have my merch all shipped to the hotel room.
Yeah.
And I just, I have it all worked out in every country. I just duplicate the formula.
Wow.
I mean, it just sounds like such a charmed life where you can just show up and there's these other musicians already.
That's what I love.
I mean, how lucky are you?
But Bob, one thing I really loved is your name, Bob Dee with Petra. I mean, when I was reading up about you, I thought, I know, AKA Petro. I knew it, but I'm like, do your fans know? Because it almost kind of has a kind of sexy sound to it. It's sexy,
cool.
But it's like this one side, Bob Dee with Petra. It's kind of like, who the hell's Petra? It's like, is that woman?
I mean, we're getting low on time, but what about Petro? Like that whole thing? Can you explain?
Yeah, Petro. I couldn't get the rights to Bob Dee. And so I had to name my band. My band is called Petro. And I was from being in the UK, all the gas, as you probably know, is called Petrol with an L. I took the L off and I drew the logo. I did my own logo,
Oh, cool.
Petro in it.
Right.
And so, so now I have the rights, Bob Dee with Petro. Now it's my business.
Wow.
I pay taxes on.
Yeah.
But I couldn't, Bob Dee, there's a million Bob Dees. So Petro is cool.
Cool. Yeah, I love it.
Well, this has been really wonderful, Bob. It's been great chatting with you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Oh, it's been great.
And it's great.
We'll have you back sometime soon.
It's great to see the other side of you, because I think that your fans know you're on the stage, but I love, seeing the other side of this rock star,
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Right. And thank you to all the fans too, and supporting me all these months through this. Really appreciate it. Very humble. Thank you.
So people got to check out Bob Dee with Petro,
you think, Andrea?
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Roller now.
Yeah, I think this it's really exciting because rock is really something that is constantly shifting, and he comes with he's still going, and he's got this energy that yeah.
He's got great energy, and I love that he lived into his dream and he made it happen, you know, and not everybody gets to do that, you know, like everybody has a dream, but when you really can make it happen, it's quite remarkable. But I just really enjoy talking to him because he's such a real person, and you know.
And the fact that you grew up with him, I think it's great, you know.
10 minutes away.
I mean, you know, we spoke to Jen Silver last episode, and she was building herself up, and Bob is on a totally different level where he's been out there and he's still going, and the industry is shifting, but he's still going with the industry. He's still going. He's got, you know, it's positive. And I think that, to me, people need to see that, you know. And I love to see the real side of him. You don't see the real side of people, you know.
Bob lives into the saying. It's a saying in rock and roll: rock till you drop. And and I love that. You know, it's like the Rolling Stones are still going, and all these other, you know, these major classic rock bands that are still going, and they're selling out everywhere. I just, you know, that's really inspiring to me, because that's, you know, I'm not like in my 20s anymore, and I'm still doing it. So whatever you hear is your thing, you know, you just keep going, keep doing it.
Yeah. So listeners, Bob Dee with Petro.
Yeah.
You got to tune into him. He's on IG, he's on Facebook. He's I just love Socially Awkward, that video.
Yeah. All right. I guess we have to wrap it up. I will talk to you later, Andrea.
Okay, see you.
Let's go celebrate. Biden won.
Yes.
All right.
Celebration. Cheers.
Yay. Bye.
Bye.